I'm a baby boomer. I was born in 1960. I eat meat. I fly for pleasure. My wife and I have 2 millennial sons who raised our consciousness about a bunch of stuff. Most importantly, climate change and the effect that humanity is having. When we arrived here in August of 2021, a Belgian friend of ours invited us to come and stay in his camp in Masai Mara called Emboo River Camp, which has as its unique selling proposition the fact that it's carbon neutral net zero.
My name is Loïc Amado. I'm the founder and director of Emboo. We started around 5 years ago with our first project in hospitality. We created the first net zero safari camp in Africa.
Loïc does something really special with all his guests when they check out. He shows them their whole installation. And I kept thinking to myself, wait a minute, we may not be in the same business, but we have the same infrastructure. I have 2 buildings and 5 acres of land and 2 cars and 20 or 25 staff. He has 10 tents and 3 acres of land and 4 cars. It's the same infrastructure. So I asked him, do you think we could do the same thing in my embassy, take it off grid? And he said, let me come and check. And that was the beginning of the whole story.
Wow, we thought it was a challenge. It's hard to find what we call a turnkey solution, somebody who can provide all the solutions at once. When we thought of this, we said, how are we going to assemble a team?
The Emboo Innovation Hub is there to inspire other businesses to transform their operations into a net zero state. For us, there's a couple guiding principles. It's about simplicity, it's about tech innovation, it's about finding nature-based solutions.
We had to start doing an audit of our energy consumption, both in terms of electricity and gas, our water consumption, the possibility of having our own vegetable garden and what that would do for us. More or less at that time, the Belgian government had decided that they would run a program which was making its own public buildings sustainable. Initially, of course, that project was for the federal government buildings in Brussels, but the foreign ministry said, well, why don't we do this with our embassies abroad? The big advantage that we have here in Nairobi is the climate. You have 350 days of sun here. There's sufficient rainfall, so we have a lot of water. It's the perfect kind of climate for this kind of project. Lots of embassies have put down solar panels, a number have installed biodigesters for gas, etc., but nobody has done the whole package yet. This is the first Belgian embassy worldwide to be completely net zero.
We have installed solar panels on both buildings, both the Chancery and the ambassador's residence that are on the same plot. Both of them are just full-on solar power, no generator, fully independent of the grid. Then we have a solar carport, which is charging electric vehicles under that solar carport with EV chargers. Then we're using biogas and biodigesters for the kitchen, and all of that gas is generated through vegetable and fruit waste. And then we've got recirculation fountain, which acts as a buffer zone for all of the irrigation. We do water filtration of all of the used water through sequencing batch reactors, plus a nature-based solution with a lagoon. And all of that water that has been filtered will go back into circulation in the irrigation. Then we've got vertical gardens that are creating almost all of the fresh produce, so vegetables and fruits. And we've got big rainwater harvesting tanks, which are collecting all of the rainwater and having that water go back into circulation for the operations as well.
The Vertical Gardens right now is Kenya's leading hydroponic equipment provider and supplier. One of the beautiful things about our hydroponic systems is because the nutrition is targeted and delivered via the irrigation water. We have a clear timeline on when you can harvest your crops. Because when you've gone vertically, you're able to get up to 300% more crop per square meter compared to conventional farming.
I love it. This has made my life very easy because I get fresh products from the garden.
Just from speaking with the chef, he's completely over the moon that the cost on buying food from outside has greatly reduced. It gives him more freedom and more room to explore with his dishes.
Since the garden was put up, there have been a lot of compliments. I feel happy because the food is tasting even much better.
It isn't just the technical installations, it's also a way of life. Especially when you clean and when you wash, if you're putting in a certain cleaning product with a certain type of chemicals, you're actually doing damage to the water that you're going to be using for something else in this whole system. We've come to the point where we're buying a different type of cleaning products which are biologically more sustainable.
Those are the best products I've come across because in the past, the products I've been using, they have been irritating to my skin. I have to do a lot of work, but now my job is easy.
I tend to be aware of what I do even in my home. I leave a room and I just automatically switch the light off, or I'm going past the market, I see all this waste and I'm like, yeah, this can be turned, like I can use this for energy, you know?
It's quite exciting to see people being inspired by the change that this brings about and how they can live their lives differently, and that's how you have huge impact. Not just in a small space in the Masai Mara, but it starts to now become a catalyst for change towards other environments and other industries.
We can set an example, and with this particular thing, we're doing exactly that. We're setting the example. If Loic and Emboo Camp can do this out in the bush, and I can do this here in a city like Nairobi, then everybody who has an installation that falls in between those two extremes can do part or all of it as well, and can follow our example.
You have a bit of an investment, especially if you're looking at the latest of the latest, which is what we're using, high quality solar panels, bifacial solar panels. We're looking at lithium ion phosphate batteries, which are again the latest of the technologies. So an ROI would be about 3 years to 5 years, depending on the capital injection. I definitely would suggest it for long-term businesses who want to develop over 5 to 10 years. It's a viable solution.
What we've done at the Belgian Embassy project and what we've done in the safari space, there's no restrictions to do this in any industry and any operation.
You need to find the right people to work with. At every step of the way, the team have always been on top of their game. They have taken this project with the passion as if it was their own.
It makes me pretty proud to bring the Belgian Embassy in Nairobi as the first Belgian embassy worldwide and as the first embassy in the Nairobi diplomatic space to be net zero in its operations and hopefully one day trend towards carbon neutrality.
I'm very grateful to the ambassador of Belgium in Kenya. He has done a great thing and he will leave an impact and a good change in these residents. I congratulate him.